Hey guys, we've covered a lot of topics about getting yourself into your future home. We've talked about how much to budget for your build, how to get financing, how to buy den plans, how to find a builder, and how to find land online. But we have not covered how to scrounge your money up from behind your couch cushions and actually start saving.
It seems like a simple concept, but there are a lot of ways to save more efficiently and strategically. We're going to tell you all about our budgeting strategies, and we'll even tell you about our favorite secret weapon when it comes to saving your down payment in a zero-risk account that pays way more interest than just about any other account out there. But first things first.
You need a goal. You should start with getting a target home price in mind. And if you're not there yet, we made a video about budgeting for a home that could help you weigh everything that goes into this decision. Ultimately though, the price of a home you can afford is a very personal thing, so you'll need to work to figure out what a good goal is for you. Today, we're just gonna assume you've arrived at a down payment goal and are just looking for strategies to save. Oh, but don't forget to account for closing costs, which will typically be around 2 to 5% of the loan amount you plan to get. And don't plan to throw your entire savings into your down payment. You're gonna need a bunch of money set aside for moving costs, furnishing costs, and the inevitable random surprise expenses that pop up after you move in.
The best way to start saving money is to figure out where your money is currently going. Hopefully you have a monthly budget already, but if you don't, you're not alone. Financial literacy is pretty terrible in the United States, and many people don't have the tools or the knowledge to get themselves on track to save for a home or even get themselves out of debt at all. I know that I personally didn't save a dime until I was well into my 20s, and even then, it was a slow start. The only financial education I had in high school or college was my home economics class in high school, where between learning to bake bread and sew sweatshirts, we learned to balance a checkbook, a skill I've used exactly 0 times in my life.
If you don't have a monthly budget and you're not a big spreadsheeter, we'd recommend seeking out some budgeting software. While we've never personally used it, we've done enough research to feel confident recommending You Need a Budget, or YNAB. It's a paid subscription-based software, but it offers a 34-day free trial so you can make sure it works for you before committing. It pulls in all of your credit card and bank accounts and creates a centralized database of all the money going into and out of your accounts. Another free budgeting software we personally use is Mint, which is owned by Intuit, the tax software company. Even though we use it right now, if we were to start our budget from scratch, I don't think that we would use it again. There are a lot of baked-in ads, like a lot of baked-in ads, and Intuit as a company isn't exactly a shining star of morality. And you have to estimate how much you think you'll make in income each month to determine your budget, which isn't super scientific. So if you aren't invested in any particular platform, we'd really recommend giving YNAB a try first. Still, if paying for budgeting software isn't an option, Mint or a regular old-fashioned spreadsheet is absolutely better than nothing.
Okay, let's just climb down off our budgeting soapbox real quick. Once you have a budget set up and a good understanding of where all your money is going, you should be able to start estimating how much you can set aside for a home each month. Once you can do that, you can figure out roughly how much time it will take to save up enough for a down payment. Don't be discouraged if this isn't the timeline you were hoping for. Our timeline wasn't even close to what we hoped for the first time we sat down and did this. This timeline can of course change depending on job situations and unexpected expenses, but it's more just about getting your feet planted in reality and starting to consider whether you can cut out other expenses that might be holding you back from reaching your goals.
Which takes us to our next step, cutting back. When you're staring your budget in the face, it starts to become easier to see how ordering takeout 5 nights a week or being subscribed to 7 different streaming services is cutting directly into your ability to get started on building your home. I thought cord cutting was supposed to be the future. Why is it more expensive than cable now? How did that happen? Anyways, look for these leaks in your budget and try to find ways to minimize them. Maybe you're paying way more than you need to for car insurance, like Josh's dad is. Maybe you can refinance some of your current debt for lower interest rates. Or maybe you're bleeding all of your excess income into credit card debt interest and you need to focus on paying that down before putting money away for your future home.
Try to be ruthless and honest with yourself about where your money is going and where you can cut back. If you haven't taken a hard look at your budget like this before, it can be difficult to get your head around at first. But just know that you can very likely get your financial situation in control with a little planning.
Besides just looking at where you can cut, it's worth taking a look at where you can increase your income as well. And unfortunately, a time machine cannot take me back to the exact moment where my college roommate was trying so hard to convince me to invest in Bitcoin when it literally costs less than $1. Missed opportunities.
So you're gonna have to figure out another way to generate a few extra bucks. This could be selling a vehicle that you don't need, working up the courage to finally ask for that raise that you know you deserve, by the way, looking for a new job altogether, renting a parking spot or part of your current home, or finally starting up that side hustle. The degree to which you can just manifest extra money in your life varies a lot from person to person, but it might be worth looking into to get you into your future home a little bit sooner.
All right, you've done the cutting, you've done the planning, you've done some saving, and now you are flush with cash.
Flush with cash.
Where do you put that money? Your savings account, right?
Wrong. Unless you're like about to buy your home, please, please, please don't just set it aside in your bank's standard savings account. In all likelihood, it's earning a terrible interest rate there and will end up losing value to inflation as you save up over the coming months and years. You want to fight inflation as much as you can, but you also want to protect your savings from the volatility of the stock market. As tempting as it is to drop your home savings into the stock market, which yields about a 10% return on average, it can be incredibly unpredictable. And the last thing you want right before you're about to buy your land or start construction is for your savings to drop by, 20% from a market correction. Still, if your timeline is extremely flexible for buying your home and you can wait out any market dips, this could be a good option for you. But if you're not the Wall Street bets type of person, this pretty much leaves really boring, safe savings accounts like certificates of deposits and high yield savings accounts or money market accounts. Exactly. But the reality is, at least in early 2022, these accounts are all going to have at best somewhere between a 0.5 and 1% interest rate. That's not even close to keeping up with inflation, which means your money is actually losing value in these accounts.
But there's a secret weapon that's gaining some popularity. I-bonds, or as the government officially calls them, Series I savings bonds. Now, don't be fooled by the website that looks like it was literally made in a 1990s 8th grade computer class. These things are no joke. They're government-backed bonds, and they're designed specifically to keep up with inflation. And since inflation is currently running wild, until April 2022, your money will generate a guaranteed 7% interest rate if you use it to buy I-bonds. Unless you're willing to put your money in a riskier account, you will not find any other investment that guarantees that level of return. Now, what is the catch?
There is a catch. First, you cannot touch that money for 1 year from when you purchase the I-bond. That clock starts from the month you bought them, and each I-bond purchase has a separate clock running on it. So for example, say you bought some in July and some in September. You'll be able to access the money in your July I-bonds 2 months sooner than the September ones. And once you get into the I could be 1 year from buying my home territory, it's probably better to shift that savings back into one of those less good high yield savings account we mentioned earlier, because those won't have any sort of time constraints on when you can access your money.
Second catch, if you withdraw that money before 5 years from the date you purchased the I-bonds, you'll sacrifice 3 months of interest gains. So if you bought an I-bond in January 2015 and cashed out in January 2019, you'd pay a 3-month interest penalty. It's pretty minor in the grand scheme of things, but it's a thing.
Third, you cannot purchase more than $10,000 per year per person. So if you and your spouse both invest, you can save $20,000 between the two of you per year. There are some completely legal loopholes to get around this, but we'll let you do that research if it's something you're considering.
Fourth, that 7% interest rate is only guaranteed for 6 months, and only if you purchase by the end of April 2022. After that, the interest rate is set to match inflation according to the US government, and it probably won't sustain that high of a rate when they end up adjusting it. But the thing to remember is that these I-bonds are designed to keep up with inflation and will never lose value. That's something that savings accounts just aren't even coming close to doing right now.
Lastly, and honestly, just a mind-boggling thing that has nothing to do with the actual account, is this godforsaken website. It is really bad and confusing, and the crown jewel on this internet relic is the password entry box to log into your account. You literally have to click each letter on this little digital keyboard to enter your password. It's bad.
It's really bad.
But if you can handle those few inconveniences, iBonds are a seriously great place to save for your home down payment.
Okay, time to step off of our second soapbox of the day. I'm sure you can tell we're big fans of budgeting software and investing in iBonds, but that's only because they've both been hugely beneficial for us personally as we work towards our financial goals. Hopefully you can find your own path towards building your future home, and as you do, we'll be here working through it alongside you. As always, drop us a line in the comments if you have any questions, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos. We'll see you next time, folks. Be quiet, Puddle. Shh. Where to save your money? Puddle.
Puddle, we're gonna need to not right now.
What, Puddle? What, baby?